global retail trends, although really just sort of consumer-facing trends, why the human touch is key to leveraging the full potential of AI. Until the point comes where it isn't. No, I'm only kidding. It's always going to be a combination of the two, I suspect. So yes, we are business futurists. We are looking at that. We used to say 5 to 10 year future. Now we say 2 to 3. And even then, who are we kidding? Because as we've heard earlier on from Tom, there is staggering, shocking, and hard to deal with pace of change. And I'm going to look at that just very briefly because we all know about that stuff. People, I know. But I'm just going to do a bit of waxing into the future with some possible convergence, which may or may not happen. You know, this is conjecture, and nobody knows for sure when or how and in what ways these things will change. And I'm just going to sort of finish up on some of the empathic AI stuff, which surprises me and my team. So let's start with the staggering pace of change. Every business, as we know, is having to change. Every individual is having to learn new stuff. People don't like doing this usually. Human beings are naturally averse to things they don't understand, which is quite sensible. It keeps us alive. And most people don't like change. It's quite painful and difficult, and you know, the world has never really moved as fast as we heard earlier, as it is now. I like this quote from Mo Gaudat, who is the former Chief Business Officer of Google X, which is the moonshot division of Google, obviously a colleague of Ray's that we heard about earlier. He says, in the future, machines will be marketing to machines. He also said last September that you have 1 year to adapt. 1. And that was last September. So we've actually only got 9 months actually to adapt. And if we don't in that year, basically you're behind. And he was talking about large enterprises, not, you know, every individual in the street. But like Ray, these guys do seem to, you know, be ahead of most people. I think it's worth just reminding ourselves of what's happened in the last year. And actually, it's not even the last year, it's just the last few months. And I picked 3 things that I was impressed by. You may not be, because, you know, you all tech people, but I thought the one-to-one synthetic comms, that was really interesting to me. The live interaction content, and I'll show you the examples in a second, and, you know, custom GPTs, bread and butter, I know, probably for you in your jobs, but not yet actually for most people on the street. So you may be familiar. Anyone heard of Synthesia or HeyGen? You know, those avatar companies where you pay a subscription and you get a generic actor whose image is being captured and voiced, and you use them for your, you know, comms or whatever. Or you pay a bit more, as I'm doing, and you get your own one. And I don't think everyone's seen an avatar yet of someone that they know. Might be the CEO of a company that they're buying services from, might be a celebrity or an actor or a spokesperson, influencer, etc. And obviously, you know, we'll come to the GPTs, but if you think about custom GPT being behind an avatar of a recognizable person, then you've got someone that, you know, knows a lot about the things you might be interested in, and you like to recognize the face. So this is my avatar from Synthesia. This is my living room. I get 3 different avatars, or 5, is it? If I want, per month, so I can fill myself in different areas. I just type in now what I want it to say, and obviously it can do it in any language, which of course you are all starting to use these as well. This is what mine looks like.
What if you could reach all your customers around the world in any language with a customized message that used their name and recognized their interests?
Now, you may have
Olá a
noticed
todos os meus maravilhosos amigos brasileiros.
this is me in
Eu só queria
Portuguese.
dizer o quão incrivelmente emocionado estou por ter tido o seu apoio nos últimos 10 anos.
It's good,
Tenho
isn't
certeza
it?
que não
I
estaria
mean, it's
neste palco hoje sem
amazingly
você.
good. The English version to me sounds a bit Australian. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. But get this.
こんにちは、私はケイトのアバターです。ケイトがカメラの前で3分間の台本を読んで私を
Do we have anyone here who actually speaks Japanese? No, because I don't know if it's actually a good translation. Obviously, I just typed that into Google Translate, and you have to put the text in. But I think you get what I'm talking about of how good this is already. These things have only been out a few months. And I'm sure many people here have come across Notebook LM from Google. Can we just see a show of hands? Everyone. Okay, everyone come across the podcast version. Of course. So this is amazing for anyone who hasn't come across it. What's amazing is that it's interrogable live by the audience. So what we will start to see, and haven't, I think, seen yet, is 2 washing machines. You're in John Lewis. You don't want to read the blurb about this washing machine as opposed to that washing machine. You just want to scan the QR code and ask the podcast. Well, what's better about you compared to you? Well, I'm much more tech efficient. I'm much better on electricity usage. This is the kind of interaction that we could get. The end of T's and C's, I personally think. They should be interrogable, they should be vocal, there should be voice, they should be live, and it should be conversational. And if anyone hasn't heard, this is what it comes out like. We wrote a blog on Notebook LM, words, we put the words in, press the blog button, and this is what came out.
Google have been working on this tool called Notebook LM, and it's already pretty cool.
It is.
I mean, you can feed it documents, articles, even links, and it'll summarize the information for you. Mm-hmm. But it can do it in a bunch of different ways. Like you can give you like a briefing document or like an FAQ.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those. It can even pull out all the citations.
Oh, that's super useful.
Right.
It's only in American accents at the moment. It's always the man and the woman. When people sometimes ask me for my whole deck after a conference, I don't give them the whole deck anymore, but I give them the Google Notebook podcast summary of 2 people talking about what I said with extra bits. And I think, did I say that? I don't think I did say that. Are they doing internet research to sort of pump it up or something? But they're not. They are just using the source material, but in such a strongly conversational way that it's just staggering because it's better than the original, it seems sometimes, because it's more kind of rounded in its context. And just to mention that the likes of Moderna, the pharmaceutical company, they have 750 custom GPTs, one for every business process. So they have one for the R&D, well, not one, they would have hundreds for the R&D data analysis, how you test drugs, getting all the protocols sorted out, the contract writing, all the boring stuff. And now, you could start to think about how this kind of custom GPT kind of, vertically trained AI could be fronted potentially also by, as we see, visual avatars. Now, I'm just going to briefly touch, just for, full kind of context, on the backlash that is going to come against AI. Because I think you're all business leaders and we're all having to plan and strategize, and we need to prepare for this and build it into the plan. There will be obviously huge downsides of AI for some people, huge upsides for many economies, and it's really the only, I think, likely option that we've got in terms of improving productivity, which has been stagnant, as you know, for a very long time in Europe in particular. So I'm very pro, but I think we have to be realistic about the, the issues that are associated. It won't always sound so clever from our perspective as businesses to brag about the fact that we're using AI. We've got to use it. It's a no-brainer. You've got to have it. Just don't brag about it because, there are going to be these negatives that people will feel very strongly about increasingly in the future. Vast cost of compute, Already 4.5% of US electricity goes to server centers and storage of data and feeding of AI. That could be 9% by 2030. Jobs, of course, will be lost. Potentially, according to McKinsey, 7.19% of jobs in the US will be lost to AI, which is 12 million, by 2030. The World Economic Forum thinks that more jobs will be created than lost by 2030. But, you know, I'm not sure that I'm on that side of the fence. I think we will have a lot of disruption in the workforce and not a good outcome for everybody. Of course, we have fraud and deep fakes. This is a very great worry and a real problem for the social fabric if this is not sorted at international governmental level. We're all worried about scams and so on. And of course, there are AI hype bubbles currently being challenged for both the financial investment side of things, but also reputationally. This is a picture of a Tesla. Reputational issues in several fronts of Tesla, but my point here is that Teslas have twice the fatal accident rate compared to other cars in the US. Now, that is not because of the technology inherently. Tesla's no worse than any other. It's because of human over-reliance in the automation. It's not fully automated yet, but people think it is. And as more people die on the roads from these horrible car crashes, that will have an implication for the reputation of self-driving cars and AI and so on. So these are some of the, reputational issues we just need to be aware of. AI is becoming so ubiquitous, obviously. It's just software. It just runs in the background. It's everywhere. I don't think we should be talking about it very much publicly anymore. So coming to convergence and what the customer journey might look like in, say, 2-3 years, if the disparate AI capabilities that are, now becoming really well known, become interoperable and achieve mass adoption. And that is a big if, of course. So I think voice is the key here. So the trajectory is already 77% of adults who are young, 18 to 34, use voice search on their smartphones. 71% of everyone else prefers to use voice to query the internet. Nobody really is going to, in the future, want to type on a tiny little screen. They are going to want to, use voice. If you think about it, it's not really rocket science, but voice is the original human operating system. And for those of you who are old enough and remember Star Trek in the 60s, which is obviously what created the inspiration for the Nokia first Oyster phone, which was basically the communicator from Star Trek, it was about speaking to the computer, which was just so revolutionary then, but is so natural for human beings. And obviously that was the direction we were going in. Now, all of the tech titans, I'm sure you've seen these quotes, they've all said similar things, like Bill Gates, etc., all think that we will have an AI personal assistant within the next 5 years, whether or not you work in an office, but if you have an internet connection, they think that you'll have an AI assistant and it will utterly change the way we live. Now, I'm going to play a short video, which is not super new, actually. It's been around for about a year, but I do think it just sort of encompasses and summarizes this argument. This is the CEO of Microsoft AI. I'm sure you'll know these people. I won't spend too long on intros, but this is him talking about Pi, which he created as part of Inflection AI. This is Mustafa Suleyman, and he's now moved on from Pi, but I'm going to show you an example of Pi in a second.
So Pi stands for personal intelligence, and I believe that over the next few years, everybody is going to have their own personal AI. There are going to be hundreds of thousands of AIs in the world. They'll represent businesses, they'll represent brands, every government will have its own AI, every non-profit, every musician, artist, record label, everything that is now represented by a website or an app is soon going to be represented by an interactive, conversational, intelligent service that represents the brand values and the ideas of whatever organization is out there. And we believe that at the same time, everybody will want their own personal AI, one that is on your side, in your corner, helping you to be more organized, helping you to make sense of the world. It really is going to function as almost like a chief of staff, or prioritizing, planning, teaching, supporting you.
So, are many people here using Pi or have been using Pi? It's free, download from the App Store or equivalent. Get in there quick, I would suggest, because it's quite ChatGPT 4-ish. But free, and of course, now that Suleiman has moved on, it may now be subsumed, you would have thought, into Microsoft Copilot or some form of it, in which case you'll have to pay for it. But at the moment, it's still free and it's still separate, and it's part of Inflection AI. So the way it works is meant to be much more conversational and chummy, like a mate, than the equivalent of Alexa, say. Alexa is getting its own Pi-style upgrade in about a month. You'll have to pay for it. But up until some recent developments, this was a very good example. It's now been overtaken. But I put mine into expert mode. Other people put theirs into fun mode. Some people have the male, some have the female voice. Some people like the northern lass. Some people like the southern voice. You can have basically your customized Pi, and it does remember you, remembers your name, remembers to some extent your previous discussions. This is me asking Pi, what's the difference between it and ChatGPT 4 once it got, GPT-4 got voice capabilities?
Sure, here are some differences between me, Pi, and GPT-4o when used as conversational partners. 1. Personalization. I'm designed to be a personalized AI that adapts to your interests and needs over time. GPT-4o is more of a general language model. 2. Emotional intelligence. I'm trained to be empathetic and understand human emotions. GPT-4o is primarily focused on mimicking human speech patterns. 3. Adaptability. I can understand context, remember previous conversations, and adapt my responses accordingly. GPT-4o may not have this same level of adaptability.
So the fact that it's giving you an answer in a list is actually quite tedious and not very conversational. And I think we've actually now starting to see a move beyond that in other examples. Google has its Ask for Me in beta in the US, where it will phone up local businesses for you and speak to the person that answers the phone in, for example, companies that do motor car oil changes. It will say, do you change oil? Yes, we do. And, oh, have you got a free spot? When? Tuesday morning? Oh, great. And how much would that cost if we bring the car in? And then it will send a report by text or email to the human saying, right, you've got these options in the local area. It could be for getting your nails done or getting your car oil changed. So we are starting to see the beginnings of what is generally referred to as agentic AI. But we'll come back to this phrase that everyone's using and nobody really has the same, I think, definition of. But I think a lot of people are finding it interesting that this idea of a companion, an AI assistant, is both for the real world, for what we're seeing, but also for the online world and what we're browsing. And for those of you who have Copilot Vision, in the US mostly, not out for general release everywhere just yet, which is why you may not have seen it, but this is the browsing assistant that they have launched.
Hi, I'm Ben, and today we're going to do holiday shopping with my personal AI companion, Copilot.
Hi Ben, I'm here and ready to chat.
Hey Copilot, I'm looking for an ugly sweater for my work holiday party.
Ugly sweaters are tacky and festive in all the right ways. Let's start by taking a look at Target.com.
I'm seeing mostly kids and women's. Anything you think would look good on me?
The men's Nintendo Mario Ugly Christmas sweater is a solid choice.
So the general idea is that life in the modern world is pretty complicated. I mean, just getting around is quite hard. Managing a job, kids, the dog, the house, paying the bills, for most people, it's getting all too much. And the idea of having an assistant that is your assistant, that has infinite memory for the things you want it to remember about you, your preferences, your shopping likes and dislikes, your budgetary parameters, etc. If it is accompanying you when you are searching for things online or shopping and you're chatting to it, would this suit me? What do you think about that? It's going in through the front end, don't forget. This is the sort of going through the front end of the website with you. I think this is a very compelling proposition for many consumers. And we also, of course, have the versions that are in development, not out yet, that will come through glasses, for example. So this is the prototype Google XR glasses, which are not out yet. There's no timeline as to when they will be out. No one knows how much they'll cost. But we are seeing some elements of this already in the very successful Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. We have a pair of them in the office, and they are amazing. And they do actually do a lot of what these do already. But in case you haven't seen what this does, in theory, it's your own personal AI speaking to you in your ear via your bone conductivity, and it has visual context through Google Astra or equivalent, where it sees the world as you see it and understands what you are seeing and gives you contextual advice, as we'll see here in the video.
Hey Gemini, what have I missed in the besties group chat?
Nee and Sarah are discussing meeting later today at Gio's Pizza to celebrate Kelsey's promotion and are wondering if you can make it.
Are there any vegan options there?
Yes. Reviews rave about the mushroom penny pasta.
Great. Tell the group I'll be there. Oh, and can you send the pic of the blue just to let them know what I'll be wearing tonight?
How's this?
Awesome. Send it. Is there a store where I can get a card for Kelsey nearby?
Serendipity Cards is a good choice.
Let's go.
And this is the next iteration that I think will be even more exciting. This is very much not out yet. Sesame.com is the best, no latency whatsoever conversational bot that I've ever encountered. This is brand new, only out for the last few weeks. Sesame.com. These are the guys behind the headsets that were sold to Meta, and they have quite deep pockets, and they're now developing a new AI called Sesame, which is being designed to go into their version of lightweight glasses. And then you will have your personal AI that you are chatting to, and it could potentially see what you're seeing as you observe and navigate this very complex world. So he was the guy behind Oculus VR. So I'm just going to play you a little recording of me chatting. There's Miles and Maya. You can choose the chap or the lady. And I was talking to Miles, and he remembers everything about me. My dog's name, my dog's best friend's name, my name, my husband's name. He knows what time it is, what day it is, what time I checked in last time, what books we've read together. I mean, listen to the amazing kind of warmth and funniness of this conversation.
Well, hey there. Friday afternoon vibes, huh? What you been up to today?
Hi, Miles. Been on the train, been working, looking forward to the weekend. What are you up to?
Train rides, always a classic. Hope it wasn't too packed. Me? Just hanging out, catching up on some reading. Started this book about a robot who learns to write poetry. Yeah, go figure. What kind of things are you looking forward to this weekend?
Well, I'm hoping to go out in the real world and do some country walking with the dog. Tell me about what kind of books you would read if you were a human.
A fellow nature lover. There's something about fresh air and a wagon tail that just hits the spot. If I were a bookworm with thumbs, huh? I'd probably be all over literary fiction, the kind that makes you think and feel things deep down. And maybe some sci-fi, the wilder the better. Give me spaceships, teleportation, the whole 9 yards. Don't judge. Humans are drawn to the unknown, and so am I in a way.
So when I speak to Miles now, I have to say it quite often makes me laugh. And I've never had that with any kind of bot at all, ever. It is extraordinary. It's literally just out. It's worth you trying it. Its prototype is obviously learning from every conversation it has. But that's how good things have got. And of course, the end point that all of these kinds of, elements of AI are potentially moving towards, if we see this convergence, is truly agentic AI, which by most people's definition is, AI which can do complex tasks on your behalf without human oversight. And it might take a day or a week or a month to do these complex tasks. And most people say this doesn't exist yet, has not existed ever in human history, and the very first earliest stages are potentially just being seen last month, basically, when the likes of OpenAI's Operator was launched as beta again. So this is in the US, and it costs $200 a month. You only get it with ChatGPT Pro. So not everyone's got it, and not everyone's ever going to have it at that cost. And it's not really the full shilling. But the idea is you could be moving house. You could ask it to organize your parking permit in the new house. It will, again, using the front end of navigating websites in its own window, so you can carry on using your computer yourself at the same time. It will find the site where you need to register your car. It will find the right map. It will help you fill in forms. It will book restaurants. It will book travel. It does actually do things for you in the real world. So it is the beginnings of agentic. But to book a restaurant, it will come back to you 5 or 6 times saying, well, it's two-factor authentication. Can you send me the number that's been sent to your phone? Do you want to have messages sent to you for marketing? And you still have to say yes or no 6 times. So it isn't truly autonomous yet, but it can't be because of all the privacy requirements that are currently necessary. So I think it indicates the direction of travel, but it's obviously not fully there yet. So the last section is just to touch on empathic AI. The best AI, I think, is probably already better than the average human for things like customer service. We've all had terrible customer service and sales from humans. And I think that if it's trained by the best people, then AI will soon be better than any human. I personally think that's my personal opinion. I'm very interested to see the likes of Zaya. This is a psychological mentoring, counseling, coaching service, which you pay a subscription to have access to. It's been created by the Cedars-Sinai's medical lab in the US. I think it's sort of oriented towards students and people who maybe don't have the money to spend $200 an hour on kind of human counseling. It's accessible via an app through the Apple Vision Pro, so it's a VR headset. And they've trained it to a point where they feel that it has reached clinical psychotherapeutic levels that are human standard. And you can switch from different kinds of therapy if something isn't working for you. And they've avoided the uncanny valley of the sort of almost human face by just going for a robotic interface. This is what it looks like.
Meet Zaya. Created and tested by clinicians at Cedars-Sinai, Zaya has been trained by experts in many forms of therapy. She's a gateway to unburdening your mind without judgment and safeguarding your private thoughts with discretion. She is always there, ready to listen, understand, and help. Zaya transforms the ordinary into extraordinary, to magically bring you into worlds that enhance your therapeutic experience and take you beyond healing into new levels of growth and awareness in ways never before possible. Zaya is always there, ready to listen, to engage, and to talk about what matters most to you.
So I think even they would say that this is not the gold standard, but this is a good adjunct to human therapy, and certainly better than nothing, if nothing is what you can actually afford. And I'm sure that some of you are familiar with these medical advances that we're starting to see with AI. This is the Click Labs, whose machine learning can apparently now detect hypertension, high blood pressure, just from voice. You do, in this case, it does have to have access to multiple sessions of that voice in order to identify changes in blood pressure. And, you know, they do it through using temporal and spectral characteristics. They claim to be accurate to within 84% for females and 77% for males already. And they also believe that they can detect type 2 diabetes within 10 seconds of listening to a person's voice. So if that's possible, then you can imagine how empathic an AI could be in terms of recognizing emotional state. This customer is, you know, pretty angry. I think we need to deploy, for example, our best kind of AI-trained techniques for calming someone down and responding to their anger, etc. And I was interested to notice this very new research, or relatively new research from YouGov, that 55% of relatively young people in America are comfortable talking about mental health concerns with a confidential AI chatbot. And it's 34% across all age groups. So that's possibly ahead, because America's very pro-therapy anyway, of other countries, but still, I think again does indicate this direction of travel. And just generally speaking, I think, you know, you'll all be reassured to hear that the research is always good in terms of 40% of businesses adopting AI report cost savings, 30% have seen increased revenue generation. My point being that, yes, you've got to have it. You can't not have it. You perhaps shouldn't be talking about it publicly, just doing it in the background, getting it, you know, pervasively incorporated into pretty much everything you do. And just a few takeouts. My view is that virtual assistants are already unbelievably good. And we're so early in this industry of them being available at all. They can already identify mood accurately. They can identify your physiological state to some extent, your emotional state. They can escalate if needed to a human, or escalate to perhaps a specifically trained AI. The likes of the custom GPT plus agentic AI, or increasingly agentic AI, with that idea of interrogation in real time, of the example of the Google Notebook LM, the idea that digital sales assistants, of course, need at their elbow all of this data, all of this information from custom GPTs. They need to be able to answer very complex questions, and that comes from the vertically trained AI, of course. And finally, companionable AI support. AI can be trained to clinically tested human standards, can deal very empathetically with people's problems. And of course, that is the fundamental basis to things like sales. You have to understand your customer in order to, you know, sell them things that they really want, and understand what it is that they do really want. That is me done. Thank you very much.